to After Dark at the Fix Stops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Fix Stops Roundtable's After Dark show. It's so great to be back with our live shows again. And welcome to our very special guest, Tom Druzynski, the Director of Service Operations at Herr Automotive Group. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Welcome back, Tom. And like that sweatshirt you got going there. Is that Buffalo Bills?
I gotta represent the Bills. Got to move the beard a little bit, so you can see it. But it's in there. And although we haven't quite conquered the East yet, it's right around the corner. It's inevitable. So
it is.
I think it's okay to wear this.
8-2. I took a look a little bit earlier today. So we're on our way, right?
And I think the last time we were 8-2, we went to the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one thing Buffalo does well is when my boss said we sell hope. It's. Every year is going to be our year. It's pretty consistent.
A lot of looking good for hope this year.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, ladies. Katrina, welcome, and Vanessa, welcome. You were just out in Las Vegas. What were you doing there?
Vanessa and I were both interning at Apex SEMA with two different companies, and we're also down there with our school, with Northwood University. Every year, Northwood sends about 20 students down there, so it's a great opportunity for us to get out and explore the industry. It was the aftermarket industry, their convention, so a little bit different from what Vanessa and I have touched and are used to, but it was wonderful to explore. We made so many different connections, and overall, it was just an amazing experience.
Yeah. And Vanessa, the same with you?
Yeah, I interned with Wheeler Fleet Solutions. So I was more so on the side of, rather than interning and sitting at a booth, I was walking around the show, attending different supplier meetings, getting wined and dined. So that was very different from what I did at NADA. So being able to experience both sides was kind of, really insightful and really cool. And yeah, I had a great time. The aftermarket industry, I noticed, is a lot more male dominated than, the retail automotive side. Like NADA, I saw a lot more female representation, which I thought was kind of cool. But, they still had a lot of, women's breakfasts and different initiatives to get more women into the business. So yeah, it was overall a great event to attend.
See, I didn't know that. That's a good observation on your part.
A lot more male to female rather than.
Tom, have you been out to Apex or SEMA?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's always a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So.
Yeah. Didn't get to go this year, but we generally try to go every year.
All right. Well, good to have you back. And so 1 week from today, everybody, is the big day. We've been working on this for a while. We have a 4-day event coming up at the Fix Stops Roundtable. It's a football theme. I see Tom is ready for that as well. And Vanessa, if you want to tell us a little bit about that and where we get those tickets.
Yeah, so our next event, Tailgate Touchdown, is coming up November 18th through the 21st. As always, it's 4 days, all virtual and online, and you can get your complimentary tickets right now at fixstopsroundtable.com. So make sure to get those complimentary tickets. It is going to be such a wonderful event to attend.
Yeah, next Monday through Thursday, and all virtual. And, Katrina, I was worried that we didn't have enough, speakers or content for this show, but once again, it's full. It's full. I mean, to the top. So
we always pull through and push out an amazing packed 4 days with amazing speakers and different panels that we get to present to you all.
And part of the event, everybody, just so you know, will include some of the things that we did at Northwood just last month. A lot of the panels that were up there. Here's Katrina and Jennifer Ness, with the daughters and moms panel, Taylor and Sarah Van Tyne. And we got a lot of great talent on the show, and a lot of dealers, and a lot of very, very, very well thought out panels. And this gentleman here, Brian Benstock, is all over the show, and you're going to get a chance to see some content that we have not released up until now. So again, that's all part of the Tailgate Touchdown event coming up on Monday through Thursday. So get those complimentary tickets, and you're going to have a whole lot to enjoy. Tom, one of the things that was mentioned at Northwood was by these dealers, including Brian Benstock, was the comparison to the retail automotive industry to the hospitality industry and how closely related they are, and that we need to take some tips from that industry as well. I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but the audience seemed to concur on that very much.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, thanks to phones, the fact that everybody has one at all times, you're never going to have a product or price advantage again. The car or the service they're going to buy from you is the same parts and the same car that they're getting from the dealer down the street. So that battleground is the customer experience. So it really is all about hospitality.
And Sean Kingery and others in the chat, Roger Conant, Kathy Kingery, Michael Weldon. Sean, thank you for your service. Today's Veterans Day, the 11th of November. And a great show coming up and a lot to be had. So, ladies, you may have some questions for Tom. Tom is the Director of Service Operations, as Vanessa said, at Herr Automotive Group, the largest franchise automotive dealer group in New York State. And Tom, last time you were on the show, you told us how you got your start in the sales department. I remember that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, started sales and then went from there.
Tom, give us a little bit more background. How are you now leading this team of 1,200 people, and how did you climb your way up in this industry?
Oh, it's interesting. As we were talking a little bit before, this was not my initial path. This wasn't the path that I put myself on. I really was interested in physics. I wanted to work for NASA. That was my, at the time, my dream job. I had a daughter when I was 18, took custody of her before I was 19. And so at this point, she understands that she's my hero, because without her, none of this would have been possible. She was this catalyst in this change, and ultimately it put me into the auto business. And as I was saying before, like this business is unlike anything else in that the right attitude, the right work ethic, and just being the right person, you have the ability to you can get as far as you can go. There's really nothing that holds you back as far as, position, earnings level. This business is unlike anything else that I could think of.
Yeah, it's so unique that you were able to climb your way up to the very top in an insane amount with, like you said, a semester under your belt. That's amazing. And it's hard to find that in any other industry. So it's a very fulfilling place to be.
Yeah. When I first got into service, I remember I was making just under $6 an hour. I set appointments. I kind of did whatever they wanted me to do. I would clean the bathroom. I would clean the shop. I would pick up customers. I'd hotshot parts. It was just whatever. And for me, it was just, let me get my foot in the door and I'll show you I'm going to outwork everybody else that's around me. And that was my goal. I knew they might have more talent than I do, but they can't outwork me.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I remember you saying that. Mike Weldon in the chat tonight. And Mike, you and Tom have been a big fixture on a number of panels, including that Automax technician panel. And we missed you both this time, but Mike, we were able to pull that panel out somehow. We got it done. So
mm-hmm.
You still have some very strong people on that panel anyway. So
yeah, they were okay. Sean Kingery, Tully Williams, Marco.
They know a little something,
They held their own. And
you guys are
and
fantastic.
Jeff Bogaski, congratulations. Now Jeff Bogaski, Senior Vice President at Trade Pending. So congratulations to you, Jeff. And
Congrats.
Grit always leads the way. Yeah. So there's been a lot of developments the last couple of weeks. So and that's a big one that we've had here at the Roundtable. So excellent. Tom, you're in Buffalo. So that corridor on I-90 between Rochester and Buffalo, that's where most of the dealerships at Herr are located, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah. So they're the majority of them are in Buffalo, and then Rochester, and then we have one in Syracuse. So in the span of about 140 miles, they're all on this, basically on that same corridor. So that's what makes us a little bit different than a lot of the other really large groups out there, because a lot of them, you start to get to this size and they're across multiple states, where we are really focused in 2 major cities. So we're pretty tightly packed.
Larry Sherman says impressive beard. Larry's got a pretty impressive beard as well. So I don't know.
I can't let it get much longer than this. It's about all I can take.
So Tony Owens said more women are needed, and I couldn't agree more. And we were talking in the green room about kind of how you started a program to get more women into fixed operations. So if you don't mind talking about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, when you have the feeling was that when you have limited perspective, so if you have basically all middle-aged white males that are running your service departments and are your service advisors, you get no innovation. So that it's that mix of all of the different perspectives and all of the different life experiences and all of those different things that really, I think, lead to change and lead to innovation and lead to a better experience. And the reality is, the people that are coming into your service departments, they want to deal with people. I see Sean over there. They often want to deal with people that kind of look like them, or if you have women, they want it. So for me, it was like, all right, well, I can't easily affect our technician population, which is the biggest portion of our service departments. However, when I started thinking about the service advisor role, like, there's no reason I can't affect the service advisor role. So as we took a look, we do pretty much quarterly, we do a gender by role report within our group. So we have an idea of where everything stacks up. And, our BDC, so I've got a 42-person BDC, and they are phenomenal. Our BDC, they know the phone system. I know that they have phone presence and they have phone skills. They know CDK, they know X-Time, they know the service advisors, they know the service managers, they know about the services and the recalls and all of those sort of things. So it seemed like a natural spot for me to go, okay, well, I can train people from our BDC and create service advisors. And then that becomes a pipeline for, with the number of advisors we have and the amount of tenure, I have a lot of vacation to cover. A lot of our service advisors, 3-4 weeks of vacation. There's 160 of them. So we have a lot.
Tom, I bet they all want to take it between June and August.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the summer months. I've always joked around with, like, all right, what if we paid double for vacation time taken in January and February? Like January, February, March, we'll double your pay for vacation. But we're not
going to take it. I don't think so.
No, I don't think that they will. We've got a ton of time to cover. So we have quite a few floaters, we call them. They're service advisors that just don't have a dedicated home store. So it's like, all right, well, I can train our BDC, then we can pull them into those floater roles. We can move them into the main desk positions. And so that's what we did. I do have an advisor performance coach. He's fantastic at what he does. He's a great trainer. So we took a book that I had written 10 years ago when I came into the group that was designed to be advisor training. We took that book, we chopped it up a bit, we lengthened it, turned it into like a 5-month course, basically, that would allow for them to work in the BDC normally, and then take time where they would have classroom time, followed by a day of shadowing. So, and then at the end of it, they graduate, and then they're able to step into those positions.
Yep. And Roger Conan's been following this very closely, I know, Tom.
Roger and I talk a lot about this kind of initiative. I know it's something that he's very passionate about as well.
Extremely passionate, yeah. And what a great idea. I mean, it fits really well. And how's that going so far?
So far, so good. I mean, we went through our first class. And then we're just starting up to take applications for the second cohort. So far so good. It looks like it's going to. We're actually going to open it to cashiers as well. Especially as we've flipped the entire group to advisor cashiering. So that cashier position is a little bit different than what it used to be. And across the group, that one is 100% female. So it gives us another position of people that we already know are customer facing employees. Again, same thing. They know a lot of the systems. So it seems another natural position that we can pull and train from.
Yeah, it's so important to have growth opportunities, I feel like, within your career, and the fact that you are allowing that to happen while at the same time, increasing the female representation for service advisors. That's amazing. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we had a lot of success with some technician programs that were training programs where, what we were finding was that the technicians that were brought up from a high school and college level through our shops, they really became the kind of the model employee. So they turned out to be exactly what we wanted to mold them into. So this program is very similar, where it's like, all right, well, I can take somebody without any bad habits because they've never done this job before. I can take them without bad habits. I can take them from an entry level position, grow them through the, grow them through the ranks, and then really teach them the exact way that we want modern service advisors to behave.
By the way, Nico Guerra is in the chat tonight. Nico, welcome. He's in Argentina tonight, I happen to know. So he's watching from far away. And, Roger's got so much to say on this topic. Katrina, you spent the summer at an internship at a dealership group here in the East Coast. And I know you had a chance to work service for a little bit of that. Why do you suppose, Katrina, that there aren't more women on the service lane as service advisors and service managers and so on? And that's historically, but there's some groups that have a lot.
Truthfully, I have no idea. The service lane I worked out of, there was 8 service advisors, 2 men and 6 females. Oh, wow. So definitely more female dominated than male dominated. So it's unique from my experience. I got to learn a lot, and I learned a lot about how much sales focus, and you were saying very customer facing, which is obviously very important when it comes to a position like that, because you always hear sales sells the first car, but service sells the rest of them. So when you think about hiring from the BDC and hiring from a cashier's position where they're already customer facing and that they have that good reputation with customers, that's very important. But truthfully, I don't know why it's usually a more male dominated role. But like I said, I came from a dealer group where they were truly mostly women that were service advisors. But I'm curious. I'm really curious about this if anyone wants to chime in the chat.
And by the way, the dealer that you worked for, a woman also, Sandy Pahenka. Yeah. We had her on the show a few months ago, and so a great focus there. Tom, it's very well needed. Okay, and congratulations to you for taking the initiative to make that happen.
Yeah, thank you. And I think the answer that I get more often than not is that they didn't know anything about cars. Yeah. That's what we get more than anything. And it's like I knew nothing about cars when I started as a service advisor. I think the 89 Ford Probe that I had at the time, I think I went 60,000 miles without getting an oil change. I would drive it until it got noisy. I would pour some oil in, and then it would quiet down, and I would just keep driving until it got noisy again, But when I had the opportunity and I started to learn, I just went back. Every time my technician would recommend anything, I would walk back in the shop and I would just ask, what is it? Where is it? Let me see it. What does it do? What happens if it breaks? How do you get it out of there? And I just wanted to see everything that they were willing to show me, So I have a couple of technicians in my career that I owe everything to because they had the patience of a saint, because I asked a lot of questions.
Questions are good. Okay. Yeah, and Roger says, but they knew a lot about how to communicate, right? So it's so important.
Yep.
In that customer-facing role. Wow. So a lot going on in the industry. Tom, what do you see now with AI? Anything happening at Herr or things that you're looking at or considering? Because there's so many applications for that, and I'm curious.
Yeah, we just signed on a couple of stores. We started with Stella, and the goal is going to be we're interested in the service scheduling portion. So our BDC with those 42, our BDC handles north of 1 million calls a year. That's in inbound and outbound.
Wow.
So if we can take a portion of those phone calls and handle the basic scheduling via AI, it allows us to do a lot more and focus on the business development portion of the BDC and make it less of a call center and more about true business development. So we're really excited to be able to start to jump into that and use Stella to start setting some appointments and seeing if we can reduce some of that inbound volume at the BDC.
Mhm.
And your BDC is centralized, right? Or no?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we have 42. It's in. We have that in Buffalo, and then we have 3 in Rochester. We were going to build a second one in Rochester, but right now there's only 3, and they're doing all of our decline service phone calls.
Are they? Okay. Wow.
Wow.
All right. Cool. So a little AI creeping its way into the business.
It's
I'm
exciting.
curious, Tom, have you heard a lot of positive feedback about that from other employees around you, or have you heard more negative feedback?
I've heard more positive, really. The places. So myself, my boss, and our dealer, we're all in 20 groups, and that's one of those things that if I recommend that to anybody, if you can get yourself in a good 20 group, absolutely do it. That's why I love, one of the things I love the most about the Roundtable is it's like being within a 20 group. Some of these guys, like having been connected with the group that I have, I can bounce ideas off of these guys and get their feedback, and they're fantastic. But within our 20 groups, we've all had dealers that have experimented with AI to varying levels of success.
Mhm.
So what's nice is you get to learn about some of the mistakes that they made when they started to roll it out. And all of us, we kind of bring back the feedback that we get, from those different 20 groups and from talking with the different contacts and the people that we know. And then we can put together a game plan that's geared a little bit towards making sure that we're going to succeed versus jumping in with 2 feet and 100% of the phone calls are going to go through this thing. And then we make all of our customers mad. It's like, all right, well, no, we're going to slow down, time out. We're going to start by asking people if they want to do it. Hey, would you like to skip the line and utilize our virtual assistant to set your appointment?
Yeah.
And then make it very easy for them to back out in case something doesn't work or they don't like it, so that they're not just hanging up. I'm very excited, but it does sound like most of the people that I've talked to have had pretty decent success with these programs.
And I love that you're offering alternatives for people that want to try it, but then end up not liking it and wanting to back out, because I think that comes with a lot of fear of AI, is people trying it and then them, getting frustrated in the moment. And I think that can ruin a customer experience. But I think with you offering that option, that easy turnaround to a human interaction, is very important as well. And I think that's a unique approach on it.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest pieces for us. We didn't want people to just feel stuck once they made that decision.
Yeah.
And I saw, this is going back maybe a year, in the time that it takes the dealership to answer the phone, okay, let alone, make an appointment, an AI like the one that you mentioned, all right, can field the phone call, set it up, make the appointment, check for open recalls, ask some good questions, set up transportation and set the appointment and confirm it by the time that the real, the live person hasn't even picked up the phone yet. So,
Mhm.
so
Sure.
and there were initially some missteps. I'm not saying on the part of the dealer, but on some of the technology as it came out a couple years ago. But I think everybody's learned from that now,
Yeah.
and that's just really helped to make it better. And
Mhm.
Don Andres, good evening to you tonight, and David Lucas. David, I got to get you back on the show too, so you know. So good stuff. Michael Weldon in the chat. All right, Buffalo's football team's doing pretty well this year, Tom.
It's going to be our year. Said it from the beginning of the year, and I guess we say it every year, but this year is going to be our year for sure.
So people ask me, since I'm from New Jersey, they say, do you like the Giants or the Jets? What's your team been all your life? And I say Buffalo Bills. Okay. Because it was always exciting to watch a game, later in the year, like we're coming into now. And the elements, up in Orchard Park where the stadium is, and you got a new stadium. It's not done yet. It's still way under construction. You got a lot of work to do, but is that gonna be Highmark Stadium also? Same name?
Yes. Yeah, and it's the kind of sad part, I guess. It's sad, but it's not sad. Is it's going to be mostly covered. So there will still be some, some access to the elements, but it won't be wide open like the old one was.
You say it's sad until it starts to pour rain during a game.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not very surprising living in Rochester and Buffalo my entire life. I'm not very tolerant of the cold. So once it gets to like November on, the only way I'm going to the games is when I have the seats indoors. So I'll sit inside in the boxes and watch the game. But other than that, it's a lot. Some of those people are tough that sit out there in those games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Buffalo fans are tough. I see we got the Lions fan in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's Katrina's mom, Jen. Good evening. Welcome. But Tom, the Buffalo fans are like no other. I mean, they're very, very diehard. And I would tell you, when Tom Brady would come to town, I tell you, the fans really get into it. And being under the ground like that, the way the stadium's built, that becomes like a real echo chamber, and the noise is extremely loud if you're an opposing quarterback, let's say, that the locals don't like.
Yeah, I was there a couple of times when we were going for the record for the loudest. They were doing the decibel readings, going for the loudest football stadium.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Sean Kingry's got a couple things to say about that, but that's good. But Buffalo's a great Buffalo and Rochester are great places to grow up. Not that different than parts of Michigan. Okay, similar climate, similar weather, but really nice place to live and raise a family, Tom. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. And Lions doing pretty good this year too, I guess.
Yeah, I like Don's comment.
Are you a Lions fan?
Of course we are. We're from Detroit.
Okay.
So.
How about Vanessa?
Yes, of course. If I'm cheering for a team, it's definitely Lions, although I don't really understand football as much as I should. So
All right. So great stuff. Again, big event coming up shortly, a week from now. And here it is. Katrina, you got to get your tickets, Katrina.
Yeah, of course. Tailgate Touchdown, like Vanessa said in the beginning, all virtual event. You can get your complimentary tickets at fixedopsroundtable.com. Get them now and reserve your seat for this wonderful 4-day event with the top speakers in our industry.
David Lucas, heat wave in Australia. Tom, it's been pretty warm this fall so far, right? I don't know about by you, but down here it is.
Yeah, it's still been pretty much in the 50s every day, which is terrifying because that means if Lake Erie doesn't freeze, we're going to end up with some massive snow, the lake effect snow bands again. That's where we get those 5, 6, 7 foot snow events.
a lot of people think it's going to be a tough winter, so not too excited about that. But
no, me neither.
Last time Tom was on the show, we did a little trivia about the best wings anywhere in the USA, and a lot of people didn't believe Tom that Buffalo is probably at the top, if not the very, very top of that. So
that's where they were invented,
Yep, there we go. And Tom, you could recognize from this picture, where this is, okay?
That looks like Duff's.
There's a little something that gives it away, right? That white warning container.
Medium is hot. Yeah, medium and hot is very hot. Oh yeah. Yep. They're not lying either.
No, they're not. And this place is going to be covered with snow soon.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Tom, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And great to see you. And
so good to have back on.
Yep. And we'll be back Wednesday night. Our good friend Robert Migliaccio will be here on Wednesday.
Yes.
And he'll be live with us. And then off to the big show the following week. So we can't wait. So, Tom, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all you do. And I know it's still 2 weeks away, but happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. So
absolutely. Same to you and yours, all of you. Thank you.
All right. Everybody, we'll be back on Wednesday night at 8:00. So we'll see you there.